Good morning, Lagos. Thank you very much for staying tuned. It's time for Business Express 981. I'm Ayo Myra. Stay with Rotus.
Hello, Ayo. Good morning to you. Lagos, good morning to you as well.
And Rotus is here with Benedict from AfriInvest. Good morning,
Good
Benedict.
morning. Nice to be here.
Good to have you. Now, let's tell you how you can get involved in today's conversation. On WhatsApp, it's 0809 On Twitter, we're at Smooth981FM. Use the hashtag Business Express 981. And on YouTube, we're streaming live. So please go on to Smooth 98.1.
All right, thank you so much. So the stock market was down by 0.16% yesterday. 26,513 points is where the all-share index closed. Market cap is at 12.9 trillion naira. We're starting off with food, but before I do, incredibly crazy story yesterday. My dad at the toll gate scratched someone's car, right?
Oh,
tiny
God.
little scratch.
Okay.
The guy gets out of the car, he's all upset and everything, but it was a very tiny thing. He just had a bad day. They introduce themselves. He tells him his name, and he's like, are you Rotus's father? he's like,
way.
what? How do you know this? And he's like, your surname Odiri. And apparently, this shout out to Lucas Togan. I honestly, to be honest, can't remember him. He was 2 years my junior in secondary school. He listens to Business Express every morning. So Lucas, thanks for taking it easy on my dad and being very nice. And I appreciate you listening to the program. Insane. AfriInvest, Benedict is here with us. Benedict, let us start with inflation. Inflation figures came out yesterday. It's also very interesting that today is World Food Day. World Food Day. So inflation increase, I think, is the fastest pace in about 4 months. I know we're going to talk about the impact. I'm going to take a wild guess, Benedict, that the border closure had something to do with inflation increasing, but please take it away, sir.
That.
Yeah.
Okay, so basically what we saw yesterday actually quite differed from what we were expecting. I mean, given what August recorded of 11.02%, we're expecting that inflation will go a little bit lower, at least, or within the same region. But what we saw is that the headline inflation increased to about 11.24%, showing a 22 basis point increase.
Right.
And we could attribute this to the increase in core inflation as well as increase in the food inflation.
Right.
Now, what we suspect is that the increase in prices of food can be related to the closure.
Yes.
The border closure that the president issued at the end of August. And we've seen how this has surged up prices of rices, especially, as well as we saw that prices of beans, prices of cereals also went up as well. And like I said, also core inflation increased as well. And we noticed that appliances, repairs, clothing, household items, and energy, all of this also increased as well. Now, we also suspect that the increase in inflation was as a result of a weak base effect.
Okay.
So these are all possible links as to why we had a incredible surge, because I mean this is very high compared to what we saw last month. So.
Okay, thank you for that, Benedict. Now, I've spoken to people. Some people actually support this border closure, folks, and I understand all the arguments coming from left and right. And they've said, look, the smuggling is too much. This is something that needs to be done. They understand what the federal government is, and of course, there are other people on the other side who are saying, look, you're closing the borders. You are affecting what we pay for the food that we get and other items. Now, I understand that the federal government is saying that they're doing this because they want to increase local production. But are there not other ways to do this? Let me give you an example. Kalu Aja, you guys know I'm a big fan of his. He has an article out in Nairametrics. I think I'll tweet it out for you guys to read, where he says that, look, federal government, instead of these foreign exchange bans and instead of closing borders, why don't you subsidize? Benedict, I want to know what you think about this. And Lagos, you too, let me know what you think. Benga, come on, I've already seen your message on WhatsApp. Benga, Benga is quick on the draw. He's already talked about inflation and the borders as well. Federal government, why don't you subsidize production for local farmers and local food producers instead of going this other way in banning things? Because the impact is felt by everybody. So if, for example, they say subsidize their cost of what they pay for fuel, or give them rebates, all these pioneer tax things, I don't want to mention the bigger companies they give them to the smaller companies, in order to help them reduce their costs of local production so they don't turn to imports. Because, I mean, Benedict, and look, these inflation figures that we're looking at, this doesn't factor in the full closure of the border that was just from 2 days ago.
Exactly.
So I'm suspecting that by the time we look at inflation next month, what is going to see. So, I mean, what do you think? What do you think about what the government can do?
let me just try to respond to that subsidy you spoke about. Now, I don't really believe, or we don't really believe that subsidy is the way to go. I mean, because subsidy keeps feeding into our GDP and so into our budget, basically cost in the nation, and this kind of gives us a huge budget deficit at the end of the day. So going the subsidy way is not the way thing. And I know that many people are opposed to the border closure, and this is for a good cause, given that we're not really sustainable. Now, the better approach we believe we can take is, in as much as you want to close the border to increase domestic production, that is all good and fair, but at least give a kind of a leeway, right, where the people can also still access product, but while still encouraging
local production,
exactly, to do better.
So you're going half and half, is what you're suggesting.
Basically, yes. Because a full total close down can't really work. I mean, in the long way it will work. This is just a short way. People are trying to only look at what is happening currently, but if we can keep, or we can live through this process in the medium to long term, we can see the benefit.
Okay, good stuff. Right. So we disagree, but we disagree amicably.
Yeah. All right. So we have some comments. As you mentioned, Benga has talked about the inflation.
Yes, and Benga, and he's read the article as well. So Benga has read it. I'll put it up. You guys can read it as well.
And then Prince says on the border closure, I have a mixed feeling.
Mixed.
Mixed feeling.
Yes.
Some of us that have farms as a side or hustle are benefiting from the border closure. So this is someone else who is saying that they're benefiting from the.
Yeah, but he's benefiting because prices have increased, so his bottom line is increasing. So it has a businessman, Prince is happy, but then for his people who are paying for it,
the demand as well has increased as well. So the demand for local produce,
which will also push up prices as well for him.
And then Akemi Victor is saying, Savik says, of course the closure is in order. Solutions to various issues will begin to surface. Subsidy on oil is already killing. We do not need to add more.
Okay.
And then Tunde is saying, I don't think subsidy will work because Nigerians have excessive craving for foreign goods. So it looks like some people are.
I said a lot of people. Some people agree with this closure. Okay.
Yeah, Obajimi Adewale on Twitter says, why is the government trying to kill us with taxes and levies? So another story. What is your take, Rotus, on the renewal fee for an NMC card?
Well, Obajimi is very simple. The government doesn't have money. In fact, that's a perfect message to go into. I think Lagos State. Benedict. But Benedict, why are they increasing fees? They need money now. What else is there? We don't have money.
Inka is saying that we know those who are in support, and you should read the defense on Twitter. That why force them to eat local rice that's not sweet? That before the closure of the border, why not ask the locals to step up? Again,
all right.
And then Papi K says you close borders, you get ban items. Your intervention funds never ever get to the manufacturers. Your bank keeps selecting safer financing, and then he's just not really happy with the
Papi K is not happy. So we've got people on both sides. Yinka and Papi K are on one side, Prince and others are on the other side. Okay, so talking about finances, Obajimi has asked us. It's a money issue. That's why fees are going up. Our dear governor, Sonwolu, did I get the pronunciation right? I'm close. Okay, you've been helping. You've been coaching me. I alluded on air, I think yesterday or last week or so, that I wasn't sure. I was asking for more transparency on the costs of the road rehabilitation, state of emergency that he called out. Now, Business Day has a headline from yesterday saying that he's written to the House of Reps for Lagos State House of Reps that he's looking for 250 billion naira. If Lagos is asking for money, Benedict, what does that mean for the rest of the nation? But what do you think? What are your thoughts there?
Actually, it's really an issue. I mean, given that Lagos has the highest internal generated revenue in the country, so it's really surprising that they have lack of funds to fund even the fixing of food or fixing of food. But the main thing to focus on really is the amount that is being needed. I mean, considering what he intends to use the money for, we can say that is fair enough to fix the pothole, fix internal roads that are having issues there about. But that is just for the immediate period.
Right.
But when you look at the long term, we need more than that. We need transportation infrastructure in place. We need to focus on how we can expand, because whether we like it or not, when the roads are fixed, we're still going to have overpopulation with many cars on the road. The traffic is still going to exist.
Right.
So how do we go about this? By trying to create more transportation revenue, maybe like the railway that has been ongoing for over 16 years now.
Right.
We need to go back on that, try to get that in line. And also, Lagos is surrounded by water bodies.
Right.
Why don't we employ
more
use
of waterways? Yeah.
Exactly. So looking for different means by which we can transport individuals and consumers and goods is better than trying to only fix something at the current stage.
Right. So you have to look more long term, is what you're saying.
This is good. Don't say. I'm not saying that this is not a bad thing. This is actually a good thing. But this only fixes an immediate problem, not the long term.
All right. Thank you very much, Benedict. We have comments from YouTube. Michael Adetisu says subsidizing can have positive effects, but not for long because it feeds into the GDP. See fuel, for example. You can help the industries through less processing fees and and holidays,
tax holidays and other mediums,
like you mentioned.
Cool. Okay. Oh, Yinka, so that's you. I was going to ask. Yinka. So he responded to. I tweeted about this story about the governor asking for more money.
Yes.
And no, he's been following me for a while. No wonder. I'll follow you back. So Yinka is a firecracker on Twitter. It's okay. Now I was gonna ask on air that was him.
WhatsApp as well. He's a firecracker everywhere.
You know.
Adeyinka from First Success looking for that much for road repairs, yet assuring he can pay more than 30,000 naira minimum wage.
Adeyinka, thank you. That was another headline. Lagos is supposed to be paying more than the 30K minimum wage. I saw that. In fact, I totally freshly pressed. Yeah. Where is the money anyway? Another message.
Closure of border encourages us to look inwards. Nigerians only do things when there is force. I don't agree.
Interesting.
I think we've been conditioned to think that way.
Yeah.
It's like abuse.
I wouldn't say it's force.
Yeah.
I would rather say when you're put into pressure, it's more like a trapped mouse. When
Exactly.
you're trapped,
you have nowhere else to go.
Look for other alternatives. Until you're being placed in that position, you can't do anything.
So it's like being in an abusive relationship. So you just have to endure.
Okay, so we're running out of time. What about the refineries? Why didn't they? Anyway, look, Benedict, thank you for coming in. Appreciate your thoughts. We were supposed to get into this Seplat news, but I guess we'll get into that. Seplat has acquired a company in London,
Inland,
oil and gas assets. Thank you all for your messages. Very nice to see everybody responding so passionately, and I like the divide in opinions on Business Express. It's always nice to see a divide of opinions. Thank you all, and okay, I guess we'll see you. And InterSwitch, of course, who is sponsoring today. They will be at the First Bank FinTech 3.0 Summit later today with their presentation.
And your headline.
Yes. Looking forward to that later on. So register.
Sure get to Rotus and take a selfie with it.
Exactly.
Tag us, please. All right, Lagos. Next up, we have some goodies from Travel Wings. Stay tuned.